doing. This is the Godfather, D Durrell Life Solutions, broadcasting from D Durrell Life Solutions. Hope everybody is having an excellent day. It was supposed to go live at 3:20, and it actually stated, I don't know what's going on, but I'm live right now, guys. I went live 5 minutes earlier than expected, but I am here. And I'm gonna have a quick little conversation with you all, and I want to talk about the issue that relates to Umar Johnson and his daughter. Um, I'm gonna have more of a professional discussion. For those that watch me on my D Durrell Live and also the D Durrell Sector channel, you get more of a colorful um, response. But for this particular issue, I am going to talk to you um, in a more rational, professional manner, and kind of give my experience dealing with these issues in a clinical setting. Okay. Um, I'm going to revisit this topic at least 2 more times, even 3 more times, as it unfolds and as it deals with whatever nuances come about that are related to the lack of relationship they've had and the mental strain that affects all parties that are involved. So, being that this is a therapeutic channel, this is a mental health related channel, I want to come from a position of, as a therapist who has worked in the Department of Family Protective Services in multiple states, I deal with issues relative to this all the time. Okay, all the time. At one time, that was a large percentage of my business, dealing with people who had family related issues. I actually I had an association with several law firms that I dealt with things. And I dealt with this sides. I've dealt with it from the parent who is actually the primary custodial of the child. And also I've dealt with it from the side of the person who is secondary or not not the primary custodial parent, who wants more time with their child, who wants to pay or want to pay less child support, who may not be available, who could be available. There's a variety of things that come about that influence the circumstances of how people get to that point where they can no longer um, effectively communicate what's in the best interest of the child. Because really, in our actuality, when parents are arguing over, what they should be arguing over is what is in the best interest of the child, not as what's in the best interest of me. And far too often, when people have children together, they bring up their relationship as reasons to beat down on one another about who's right or wrong and why you deserve to have or don't have or you don't deserve to have whatever time you think you should have with your child. My position is that we have made the child support system, it has been used to weaponize against mainly men, and I've also seen child support weaponized against women. I've seen it on both sides. I've seen grandparents weaponize things against children, against their own children who are parents. I've seen all types of strategies that people are legally able to utilize that relates to them holding that child as, up in a way to manipulate or cause problems to the parent that wants more time, who wants to spend more time with their child. Okay? And in this position, as it involves Umar Johnson, Anissa, whatever her last name is, and the mother. And no, guys, in case anybody wants to know, I'm not like some of these weirdos online that go up finding people's personal information that is none of their business for the sake of content creation. I have no interest trying to look up the mother's name, the daughter's full name, how much time. I'm not into all of that weirdo stuff. That's not investigative reporting. That is weirdo people that don't have anything better to do with their life than to go looking up things on other people for the sake of YouTube admiration. Okay? Before I move forward, see, we got some people in the chat. Shout out to My Opinion. Shout out to the Queen for You Reacts. Appreciate you all for being here. Appreciate you all for having this conversation with me. So as a therapist, I deal with family court. I've dealt with family court a lot. I primarily dealt a lot with family court from 2010, even though I've been practicing since 2006, really before that. But from 2000, I'm going to say probably from 2010 to about 2018, even maybe 19, it started slowing down. I was heavily involved in the family court system. So much that I stopped doing, I started charging people to go to court and testify on their behalf. I was linked up with several family practices in which I did evaluations for them. I did counseling for the mother or husband or wife who was in route to a divorce or going through some whatever issue to keep their children to basically at risk of being extinguished as the parent. So I'm looking at this from a variety. When I say a variety of different positions. I'm not necessarily so focused on the fact of one person against the other. Because at the end of the day, guys, what we're seeing with Umar Johnson's daughter is that the true victim in all this was not his mother, who was angry at Umar for whatever reasons, and definitely what in the hell wasn't Umar, who didn't try enough as a father to utilize the court system in his favor. But the true victim is the daughter that they had together. She is the true victim. She was the one who was robbed of having a father in her life, her biological father. Okay? I know she has a stepfather, but stepfathers don't replace biological fathers. Okay? The father that you know is your blood. See, we don't think about how the issues going on with Umar and the child's mother, how that affected a confused 8, 9, 10-year-old child trying to figure out, why is my mother constantly talking bad about this man? Why is this man not allowing me to come back home when I'm supposed to come back home? Why are they bickering with one another over me? Putting kids in an uncomfortable position where they are emotionally confused about why adults acting this way. Then as she gets older and older, you know, you see other children with their fathers having a great time, benefiting. Meanwhile, while this situation is going on, the most requested black scholar in the world, the most requested orator in the world, the most requested mental health / school psychologist, certified, not licensed, there's a difference, is roaming around helping everybody but his own child who needs him the most. And so I caution everyone to please separate Umar Johnson as the professional with Umar Johnson father. Those are two different situations. Those are two different situations. Umar Johnson, the professional, doesn't mean that he's going to utilize that information and his skill set to be a better father. It doesn't work like that. Okay? Doesn't work like that. Now, I see the chat. The chat says, the queen before you rack said, did you see her on the one-on-one with TS Tommy Sotomayor that went left? Umar, yes, I did. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I saw that. And unfortunately, she should have consulted with others with going on a channel like that. And I know he paid $3,000 to $4,000 or $5,000 or whatever. Okay. He paid his money and he did what he did. And she was caught off guard and they end up having their back and forth. And she, we expect Tommy Sotomayor to look like a buffoon and to be disrespectful, and things like that, because that's what that's who he is as a person. But what I didn't expect was for her to engage in the manner that she did. I didn't expect that. So I felt bad for her for being put in a position where I think people should have forewarned her not to go on his channel. But she did. But she's a grown woman. She's 22 years old. I want to hear this about her being a child. Excuse me, guys. I don't want to hear this about her being a child, okay? Because if you were woman enough to make everything known that this is your father and do the things and talk in the manner that you're talking, you're not 16, 15 years old, okay? You're not. So you have to deal with that in the manner what comes with that. You got paid to be there. You got what you got. I don't know if he paid her, but she dropped down in his chat. He asked her to come up. She got paid to come on platforms. She admitted it. She's gotten paid by several people, and she said she has about 5 more interviews that she got paid to do, including, she mentioned Tasha K. So she definitely got paid. Excuse me, guys. She got paid, and she's getting paid. She got paid by Tanya TKO. Oh, yes. Yes, Lise. She got paid. Ms. Doe Eyes, she got paid. So the queen said she held her own, though it was them other guys on there that were yes, there were guys on there acting a goddamn. And the thing about it kills me, these guys who are personalizing and in their feelings about child support. Many of these guys who refuse to utilize the court system to their advantage. Yes, you're going to have to pay money. Yes, you're going to come out of pocket. Yes, you are going to have to do what is necessary, okay, to get custody of your children. If you expect, you're better off, guys, and I'm going to tell any guy this. For all of you guys who have issues with parenting, co-parenting with a child that's not living with you and living with the mother, if you have issues and where y'all can't meet eye to eye, you're better off putting yourself on child support and going through the white man's paperwork, they say, to get the outcomes that you want. Because you can spend money and give all of this support, and that lady can still go back and sue you through court and put your ass 5-10 years in the rears, because the judge will see everything you did as a gift. And those are facts. And I have witnessed that in court. I have witnessed that. And not only have I witnessed that with women, I have also witnessed, with men, I've also witnessed women getting taken to the cleaners through family court on child support. I've dealt with several women who are high income earners who either had a parent that was a parent or the father take them to the cleaners in a divorce, custody, child support. I've seen it happen, sir. I ain't seen it a lot, but that happens. So this is just not strictly limited to men. No, they've done this. To me, it's more about who is spending the most time with the child, but not necessarily making the most money. And usually the person who is spending the most time with the child, the primary parent, is usually the one that makes the least amount of money. Okay? The person that usually is spending the least time, that want more time, is the person who is actually the breadwinner or making more money. I don't care about the sex. The sex is not important when it comes to the courts. They're looking at who can provide the best environment for the child. The Queen, before you react, said, I'm going to see if the Prince of Pan-Africanism going to stay silent or defend his princess and address what happens on Tommy Sotomayor's show. Oh, he has addressed it. And he's talked about his displeasure about her behavior. He has. I don't know where he's at right now. He's traveling the world doing God's know what. I hope he's not impregnating any other women. I hope that for sure. But professionally speaking, going through child custody is a very stressful situation. At least I don't think she's in therapy at all. She didn't mention anything about that. But I don't think she's in therapy. I think she would benefit from therapy. I think Umar and her could benefit from family therapy together. Because there are some unresolved issues that will continue to affect their relationship, even if they are cordial and at some point. But see, that's a key thing we're missing. Excuse me. Because she didn't seek out Umar for a relationship. She is psychologically psychologically damaged on the fact of she has siblings out there that she don't even know. That was her reason for talking to Umar in the first place. The Queen, before you react, say, hopefully not a snow bunny. Look, it is obvious that this girl wants to know her family. She wants to be involved in her sister's lives. She only knows of one sister. Now, the word on the street is that Umar has 2 other daughters and potentially a lady that he got pregnant in Ghana. Okay? And I am speechless that this man has been so undisciplined when he's went out of his way to preach to the black community on how black men need to be more disciplined with who they date, who they marry. He's shown some level of being suspect as it relates to the country stripper and other women who came out to air him out. Okay? He's had some consistency with that. So as a therapist, I would recommend that Umar and his daughter, if they are able to come to terms with one another and build a relationship, I do think family therapy would benefit the both of them. I don't really think at this point Anissa's mother should be heavily involved as it relates to the progression of Umar and his daughter's relationship. I do think that it would be important for her to tell the truth and be honest about her shortcomings in parenting her child and dealing with the issues that came about with Umar Johnson. I think that would be important. Okay, that would be highly important that she interact in the infancy stages. Because now they're coming out with child support paperwork stating that Umar began paying child support and then he stopped paying child support with the second daughter. They're saying stuff with Umar not abiding by the court orders about not wanting to return the child back at a certain time. They had constant issues with one another. If Umar wanted more time, he should have went to the court to petition for that. Simple as that. Okay? Then there's the issues of domestic violence. I haven't seen any real evidence to show that Umar was an abusive man towards her. I would need to see some records and some arrests or something with Umar having to take domestic violence classes or some conditions in order for him to see his child. I'm not going to go by word of mouth by people who take information and spin it all types of ways to fit a narrative. I've seen people in the sectors that I belong into doing all of these exposés on this particular situation. But I'm sorry, I don't care if you're showing something online. You're just not credible enough in my position for me to just willfully believe what you're saying because you know what you're talking about. And many of them don't. And just because somebody shows something that's on a website doesn't mean that they know what they're doing. Doesn't mean that they should be talking about these things. So when we're talking about child custody, we're talking about neglect. I think we currently are witnessing the pathology, the psychopathology that develops in the black community due to a neglectful parent. And that's a man or woman, particularly men. We understand that with a father not being in the household, the mother and the children are 3 to 5 times more likely to be in poverty. As opposed to if he stayed in that unit, they could be potentially working class or middle class. That's how important a man is to the family. Okay? We must understand, without a father in the household, a young lady is 4 to 5 times more likely to be sexually abused by a family member or a close friend due to a man not being in the home. We do understand the likelihood of young boys committing crimes, being more at risk to committing crimes with the lack of a father. The children are almost 50 to 50 more percent likely not to graduate out of high school. Due to not having the father, a neglectful father that's not there. Now, it's a difference between being neglectful and the mother not necessarily satisfied with what you're doing as a father. Those are two different things. Because you can be there, but may not be able to support financially or whatever ways as much as a mother would want you to. That doesn't mean you're neglectful. That just means that you're just not at par with what she feels her child deserves with you. And in many instances, when men and women argue over custody and battles like this, they have a very, what I would say, illogical perception of what fathers should be doing above and beyond what they're capable of. Far and beyond that. Okay? Okay? So, been to family court, child custody hearings, mediation. I've been there and done that. I've seen the anger. I've seen people get put in contempt of court. And I've seen people just outright not show up to court and could care less whether they had to pay child support or not. This happens every day. So the men and women, particularly men who are highly triggered by this situation, they're drawing from their own negative experience. They fail to look at things objectively. So to resolve these issues, the best action would be for both parties to work together and do what's in the best interest of the child. Because at the end of the day, that's who is the loser. She's the victim. She is the victim. Umar Johnson is not the victim. The child's mother is not the victim. She is not. They made a decision to procreate with each other. They made a decision to have a child together. And so when things don't happen, work out with the relationship, we in this culture want the child to be affected. And that's a problem. Remember, it should be about the child. And so in therapy, when I'm interacting with people in therapy, part of these issues is that I am correcting and helping a person heal from all of the trauma and negative events of the past. So Lise Carter said, how though, Coach D, with the level of emotion that young women has experienced? Okay. No. The mother is not, the mother is not the victim. Matter of fact, the mother is actually highly influential in this actually turning out the way it did. And I get what Umar was saying as he used an example of her allowing their daughter to go online and act this way without correcting her and allowing her to say things that she know not to be true. Well, you had a hand in that, because if you were there, and if you were there to be of an influence to her, having contact, whether it's weekly, monthly, or whatever, okay, then why would the daughter look for you for any type of guidance? Why would she look for you for anything worthwhile or what a parent should do? See, raising a child is a voluntary, it's a voluntary act of love, because that's your blood, your flesh and blood. You never ask a mother to think twice about taking care of a child that they gave birth to. He should have understood that with dealing with his child's mother, there are going to be some issues. Whether they were extreme enough for what has happened in the last week or over 2 weeks, but that's part of the deal. He did not make himself available enough for his daughter. He didn't. And so whatever happens with this, the embarrassment, all of the shame, he should feel this way. What's up, wacky world of OTV? He said, I agree with D. Durrell. The only victim of the situation is the daughter. The only victim is her. And I would also encourage Anissa to seek personal therapy to deal with any type of maladaptive behaviors and emotions that have developed for the fact that Umar Johnson chose not to be involved in his child's life. And I am right within my right to say he chose not to, because nobody can really force you to be there for your child. Okay? And so the parents should be looking themselves in the mirror and understanding how they fail their child. And that's just the facts. They failed their child. They failed to communicate. They failed to get along. They failed to co-parent. They failed to communicate. They failed to overlook their own personal issues with one another as being in a relationship. She married and moved on. Umar has moved on and had impregnated other women. But you also have to look at this. If we can criticize women for having 3 and 4 children for 3 and 4 different men, I think in the black community, it is time for us to shame black men who have all of these children for multiple women. It should be discouraged on both sides. Men having children with multiple women should be seen as a disgusting act. Okay? Women having children with multiple men should be seen as a deplorable act. Yes, athletes, celebrities, this type of behavior, the hell with all of this player stuff that goes on within hip-hop culture and black culture, and being a player, being a Mac, a ladies' man. All of these different behaviors and repetitively being drilled in your mind was mainly done by the culture. The acceptance of baby mothers. But we're looking at the outside of it. But the inside of it is that these women who have all these children for different men cannot afford to take care of these children. Most men with 3, 4, and 5 different children for 5 different mothers, most of these men cannot afford these children. They cannot afford it. Okay? So where do we go from here? Do we continue to try to talk about her behavior, Anissa's behavior that's out of whack? Or do we come up with solutions? Maybe you shouldn't go to this channel. Maybe you should, all money is not good money. Maybe you should fall back and relax. Maybe you should do other different type of content. Not put everything out on the forefront for public, assessment of everything. Because social media is a beast. Everybody's not going to treat you with an open welcome arm on this. They're not. So this is the reality. This could have been solved years ago if Umar just would have simply took her to court. Just take her to court. Okay? So this is the conundrum that he's in. And this is all self-made. Because he made this bed with social media. He wanted to be popular and say all of these things to get people's attention. And much of it worked. I deal with at least 10 or more, at least 10 to 25 or more males all the time. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. Elise Carter said, I agree, Coach D, she will receive backlash, unfortunately. She will. She will. And the wacky world of OTV said, I agree, having children by multiple people is very disgusting and raises the poverty level in the black community. It does. By a lot. Because what happens is that you got this woman who had all these children, probably doesn't have a high school education. And if she does have a high school education, she doesn't have marketable skills. Okay? And so this goes farther than what Umar thinks. This goes farther than what other people thinks what she should not be doing. We're telling Umar what he should be doing. The mothers are not going to come out. But what I think is going to happen, there will be more people talking about they pregnant by Umar or he failed to do this for their child. That is going to happen. Okay? So my fear is that mentally they will not do anything to improve upon themselves as it relates to the custody and things of that sort. They're going to remain the same so that when they get themselves into another problem, they're going to react the same way they did, they're going to remind themselves of all of that. So I'm going to continue to watch with a great deal of interest. I plan on doing a lot of content on my D-Derail Live channel. Check out my D-Derail Live channel, also my D-Derail Sectors channel. I know that this was not an easy thing for him. And, he's going to have to deal with whatever. I don't want to hear anything about it's all the woman's fault, that you're feeding anti-black woman, anti-black spaces that love to hear is never her fault. So this is the outcome. This is what So, all right. Well, I'm getting ready to go ahead and wrap up. I got to be in a session in about 5 minutes. I wanted to chop it up with you all while I'm in the car before I go. I'm kind of reading I was kind of reading what everybody was saying and everything like that. Lisa Carter said the internet is undefeated. All these children need love and attention, and they're not getting it. So you can't blame her for coming on YouTube wanting attention, going on Instagram, going on TikTok, because she failed to get the attention from the one guy that she longed for that attention throughout her life. And he's still not giving it to her. Because he don't give a shit. I'm sorry, I cursed. He don't give a care. All he's worrying about is himself and his image, what little is left of his image after this. Okay? And so this is what happens. Men have to understand that we pretty much have a lot of things that favor men in life. But family court and custody laws and child support are just not one of those things that's in our favor. Deal with it. That's just what it is. So guys, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. I hope you all enjoyed the video. I do think that family therapy is needed. Personal one-on-one therapy is needed for the daughter. Hell, I think Umar could use it too. But the child is not the victim. I'm sorry, she's not. She's the only victim. Umar's not a victim. The mom is not a victim. The other baby mother for the 12-year-old, 13-year-old, she may come out. I don't think these women really want to come out because they could have been aired Umar out. But the fact of the matter is that as long as this is going on, there will be questions and more questions and more questions till we get to the truth. So guys, I wish y'all have a great day. This is D. Darrell with D. Darrell Life Solutions. I hope y'all have a great evening. Peace.